often tell people that I am a walking testimony. I am just um, one bad mistake from where a lot of people that I'm able to support could have been. There was options
Right.
that I could have made, but thank God that I had people who saw something in me at an early age that I didn't see in myself.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you all doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's great, great,
Doing
great.
good.
All right, all right. We are 100 Years Enterprise, Season 7, Episode 4. Today is going to be a great interview. I feel it. I don't even know what I'm going to say. I just took your line. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to say. I thought I was going to write some things out, but I didn't. We finna have a nice discussion. This topic is consequences of the street life, and it's all going to be relative. And again, my name is Fahim. Who I have over there, man? What's going on with you?
Your esteemed colleague, Patrick, man, better known as Siren America. No, let me stop. But anyway, I just want to say, man, yeah, again, the camelback of what Fahim said, man, we have a great guest on. I guess I could say that we reached out to her maybe a few weeks ago, but we've been trying to get her on there, but rounded off, we got able to get Dimless and got Evans, and now we got the esteemed who?
Dr. Jamelia Brown.
Okay, Dr. Jamelia Brown. Okay, well, Jamelia, since you here, right? And great. We want to start off by saying thank you for coming, and again, we're gonna nose dive into why you are who you are, right, and the things that you're doing in the city of Richmond and everything that led to that. So I'll give it back to Fahim. I'm quite sure he wanted to get in here. He got that Bill Cosby smile on his face, so I already know it's ready to jump off.
Who are you?
Who am I? Ooh, I thought you said it was no loaded questions.
That cannot be loaded.
That is. Let's start off with I'm Tasha's daughter.
Okay.
That's my favorite title. I'm an only child, so my mom was a teen mom, a very early teen mom, and it was her and I, until my stepdad came into the picture, who was absolutely phenomenal. Sometimes dads are not always your bio dads, but the ones that choose to step up and do the right thing. And so I'm a mom.
Okay.
I'm a mom of 4 beautiful, adventurous, outspoken, fiery children. I have a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a mom on both ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
Adult, child, toddler. I am a doctor of social work. I am a marriage and family therapist intern. I am a certified substance abuse counselor. I am, my most recent title, I'm an elected official. I'm a councilwoman.
What? You lying?
You beat us to it, because that's where I was going.
I be forgetting about it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You just ran off a lot of credentials.
Yeah. Those are just some of them.
I want to bag up to your old credential that probably hasn't been recognized. And that credential is the streets are hard knocks. Richmond. We all get credentialized in there, too.
Absolutely.
Certified.
Yeah.
By your understanding and your development. So how was that? How did you receive that certificate? Because you had to go in that environment.
Yeah.
survive that environment, go through a lot of purging to become the woman who you are. Because you didn't just become Tasha's daughter and have 4 kids, beautiful kids,
Yeah.
to be the doctor
Yeah.
and now Black City Council woman
Yeah.
in Richmond.
Absolutely. So I'm born Brookside Hospital.
Mm.
You know, you real Richmond when you was born at Brookside. That's for our 80s baby. I'm an
Okay.
80s baby.
All right.
Brought to 5th in Pennsylvania to my great-grandparents' house. I'm a Richmond resident, 4th generation. I grew up in the Barrett Apartments right outside.
Is that what they call Deep Sea?
The Deep Sea. Some call it the Deep Sea. Some call it the Iron Triangle. Some people call it the Sea. I mean, there's various names depending on how you identify what your life was like growing up in this area.
And I asked that question because...
I call it downtown Richmond.
Yeah, I know that's downtown Richmond also.
Politically correct.
And I wanted to ask that question because to be who you are now, it'd be a misrepresentation if someone didn't understand where you come from.
Absolutely. I often tell people that I am a walking testimony. I am just one bad mistake from where a lot of people that I'm able to support could have been, you know. There was options that I could have made, but thank God that I had people who saw something in me at an early age that I didn't see in myself at the time. My street card, street cred, all that stuff that the young folks say, mine's still valid. I didn't have to do anything strange. I didn't have to, you know, to be where I am today.
Right.
Many people have to make that sacrifice. Many people have to, you know, step on people to get us, you know, to step up. And I didn't have to do that. I actually embraced more people. So yeah, I grew up in a Barrett apartment, survived the Iron Triangle at a time where our city was number 3, the most dangerous city in the United States. Yeah. My our apartment in the Barretts was facing where you get airlifted at from Kaiser. So that was normal. Like every day, somebody was getting airlifted. You trying to figure out who on the gurney. So that was a real experience. Seeing friends, loved ones, you know, family members gunned down right in front of the Nevin Center. And they're on the ground in a pool of blood, like lifeless, waiting on the corners, and you just looking. That was normal.
That's deep.
So
That's deep.
he kind of grabbed where I was going, but I'm going to go there. I'm going to touch it a little bit. You know, I show, you know, our podcast is, you know, 100 Years Enterprise, Consequences of Street Life.
Yeah.
So you know, the admiration of having you on and Fahim, when he talk about where your humble beginning was, when you talk about consequences of street life, you know, in the urban communities such as Richmond, California, right?
Yeah.
You have people that grew up in those neighborhoods, right, and seen a lot of things. What made you go, and not to go too deep, because I don't, but what made you go right when we was going left? Because, you know, in our situation, we had to go to the pen, we had to learn certain things.
Well, I was left too. Don't get it twisted now. Like,
okay, you don't shoot your shot.
No, I'm just saying, like, so there was never just this meek upbringing where I didn't have challenges, my own personal challenges that I didn't face. There was just situations where now today, looking back, that I knew that God personally had his hand on my life.
Right.
So that's why I didn't succumb to many of the things that I was facing or have faced in my life. So I never want to, you know, paint this picture of just excellence. I was one who always excelled academically. So I was always one foot in the classroom and one foot in the streets. So I looked different to people. So, you know, doing bad things or things that was considered bad with, you know, growing up, you know, with my friends and things like that. It never just pinpointed Jamelia, because Jamelia's a straight A student. Jamelia's on the honor roll. She's on the dean's list. She's, you know, she has scholarships, all these other things. But there was a side where I wanted to be in the street life as well. I grew up in the Iron Triangle, like you mentioned, the Deep Sea. So I wanted to be with my friends and things like that. So my mom, you know, she kept me very, very sheltered. So once I got to, like, I graduated early. So I jumped off the porch. Once I jumped off the porch, I got a dose of being in the street life. I was like, oh, this is where it's at. You know, this is where all the fun is taking place. I've been deprived.
Right. Well, high school were you going at the time? Going to?
So at the time I was going to Kennedy. I went to Richmond High, and then I don't know if you know the Sims family, who's a group of educators, graduates of UC Berkeley, created one of the first charter schools in Richmond. So I was there.
I never knew that.
Barbara Alexander Academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
History.
Yeah, it was alternative learning for kids that were not successful in traditional schools. That wasn't the case for me, but I met them and they just began to speak life into me. And so I followed their family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you eventually, like, you went to college, of course.
Yeah. So I mean, before that, it was a series of surviving Richmond, always in survival mode. You know what I mean? How you drive is different than people in other places. Like, you know, we ain't really stopping at stop signs like that.
No.
We not getting on the parkway. You know, we're not going down Rum Reel. Like, there's certain things if you grew up in a certain area which you know you're not doing. Although when I went to Helms and Richmond High, a lot of those folks in North Richmond. So, you know, there's a historical beef between Central and North Richmond. But I had the opportunity to know a lot of those people in North Richmond because I grew up with them, went to school with them. So it was always love. But at the same time, the street violence that was occurring was real.
Right. I got a question because of that. Did you and your peers, the girls, ever have those talks about such and such got killed, so-and-so messed with him? How was that growing up? Because I know you all were having discussions and, you know, amongst each other. And so,
You said the girls?
They're the girls.
Yeah, I mean, the girls, we was fighting like wild animals.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, I'm saying.
The guys were shooting, the girls was fighting.
So I'm saying your group of friends that you were cool with.
Yeah.
Your crew, so to say. How did those discussions go about when you walked outside and you saw a guy laying on the ground dead? Did you ever have those discussions with your friends?
So we never really had those discussions. I mean, you know, it's like, oh, who got hit? You know what I mean? And if it's somebody that you knew or somebody that would impact your neighborhood, then it would be very, very sad. You know, and it would be unfortunate that if somebody else got hit that's from a different neighborhood, it wouldn't be as sad. It would almost be like celebratory in these different spaces where I have family members from North Richmond who couldn't even come to our grandparents' funeral.
Damn.
So it's, I mean, the level of that part got really deep. So when we're talking about growing up and surviving Richmond, and this is, you know, why I'm here today and why I do what I do, because I was one of those young people who needed somebody to pull me out of that environment and just show me a different way. The exposure is why I'm sitting here today.
That's good. Now I want you to put like a should I say, an educated spin on it for the right? The trauma of that, what Fahim was saying about, I know seeing the direct bodies and all that. What I'm saying, the trauma, the medical term they call, what was that experience for young girls and yourself dealing with that in Richmond? Knowing that, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog word, it's kind of like survival mode, right? Yeah. Give me the trauma from a feminine standpoint. You know what I mean? Because I know for me, I was running the streets of Oakland and stuff like that, claiming a gang, carrying a pistol every day, cat busting at me, hitting the car, but not hitting me, and I'm getting away, and the adrenaline in my mind, I'm saying, man, that's crazy as hell, right? To go do that every day, right? For me, and then come around women and be like, that was nothing. That's what we do. But really inside, I'm scared. Yeah. Like somebody just tried to kill me and miss. Yeah. How's the trauma of somebody, say for example, someone you may have been with or shared a relationship with, but he's risking his life every day. Yeah. How's that kind of trauma for women that kind of live in that kind of lifestyle? You can speak on that.
Yeah, I think it's you have to adapt. If you don't adapt, you won't survive. So like in Central, it's sink or swim. Right. And so when you're with people and you are in this environment, it's an awareness. And then most often, like, this isn't just in my generation, this is generational doctrine almost that's taught
It is.
to these young people. This isn't something that they just woke up and felt like whatever. This is something that growing up, you know, so you just kind of know how to navigate those spaces. And it's really the fact that people have sort of, just like I mentioned, adapted to this situation. So
Right.
it's their lifestyle, so to speak. It's not even like a conscious decision that they're making. It's your lifestyle. You're either going to die or killed or be killed. And that's the type of environment that people are missing, that our kids are really living with every single day, when somebody is jumping out on a car with you and your kids, or a car with you and your mom or whatever, with an assault rifle. And what do you do?
It's deep. So how were those discussions with your firstborn?
With my firstborn?
Yeah.
Those discussions were real, because she was born in 2005, so it was turned up in 2005 in Richmond, in the Barrett Apartments, bringing her in. I can recall one day coming into the Barretts, and somebody, just walking her into the door, thank God, and somebody opening fire outside. And it's just that real, just that quick. So, I mean, there's many stories, but
Right.
it's about showing her. Again,
Yes.
I had exposure to what life was like outside of the Barrett Apartments. I used to look outside my project window, like Nas said, project windows.
Yes.
I used to look outside my
Yes.
project window, and I was like, I know this. I know this ain't it.
Absolutely.
There has to be more.
And the reason I ask that question is because it's always going to be a young girl having a baby,
Yeah.
dealing with those different situations. And I think it was necessary for you to put that out there, because a lot of young women do not know who they can come talk to,
Yeah.
or how to just express themselves, when they're dealing through traumatic situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good for you to, to express that. So with that being said, you graduated, you became a doctor.
There was a lot happened before I became a doctor, but I eventually became one. Yeah. So no, there was a time. So like I mentioned, in the Barrett Apartments, having that little girl, going through. So right out of high school, I got married to my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
We had a daughter, and again, being in Richmond, seeing what he had to face. You know what I mean? The, open fire and all this other stuff, like, people drawing down on our vehicle and stuff. So that was like real experiences. And so, like, I'm not a woman to tell somebody not to carry a firearm. But I'm also one that I don't advocate gun violence, but I've experienced it in a real way, where I have empathy around it. I have empathy around what our young men what they're experiencing every single day.
Right.
So there's a different level of experience there. But to say the least, I got in my car after I finished high school, stayed in Richmond, and realized that, again, saying that there's got to be more. And so I packed my daughter up and every little thing that we can fit in my car, and I drove 3,000 miles away, and I arrived at Langston University.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was a culture shock. When we got there, I had guys running up out of everywhere, like grabbing stuff out of my hand.
Where's Langston University at?
Oklahoma. Langston,
I never
Oklahoma.
knew that.
Yeah. So when I first got there on campus, I got there at nighttime, so we stayed at a hotel that was down the road. But when I first got there and it was night, and I just sat in front of the entrance of the school and just cried, because I was like, how did I get here? I got in my car and I just drove.
Every time I got the impression to meet and talk to you, right, I get I want to say, how can I put it? I get this fire that comes from a gentle place, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
That you come from an experienced situation, and that empowered you to push where you are today.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it leaves me with a mystery of asking questions, learning from where that's coming from, or not so much where it's coming from, but what's going to come out, so to speak, right? Because I know it's there. And so, it's interesting when you talk that story right there. You talking about being literally in front of the college crying with your baby.
Because I'm like, from the Barrett Apartments to Langston University. Like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
I'm talking about I had to drive through weather conditions that changed that I've never experienced before, like my car sliding because it was snowing, not having no chains, never driven in snow before. So just like all those things, just constantly asking God to just continue to cover me and just allow me to make it. And because I wanted so much more when I left Richmond. The goal for me was to never to leave Richmond, but to go get the resources and bring them back to Richmond. That's always been the objective. And so when I arrived at Langston, I was met with guys, like I mentioned, jumping, like when I got there the next day, when it was time to register for, to get my keys for dorms and everything, because they had parent dorms. I was like, am I getting robbed like my first day? Like they grabbing all my stuff? But no, these guys were helping me bring all my stuff upstairs. They like, why are you carrying this? But that was a cultural shock within itself, because you could be in the Barrett Apartments, you could be carrying a baby, some groceries, laundry. They'll still be on the ground shooting dice. They ain't gonna ask you, do you need help or nothing?
All right, keep on
going. Exactly. So that was like a culture shock within itself. And so just being out there, seeing different people, like, we see Black people differently out here, like whatever, you know the word. But, out there, I got a chance to see Black people, like people that I had read about in books. Powerful people, empowered people, like going to the business departments where you see folks dressed in suits and like really about their business. So it was just an exposure that that was just the tip of the iceberg for me to wanting more academically. And so that's what really started my journey of pursuing academics so aggressively the way that I did, because I knew that I could, because I landed in a place where I was surrounded by people that looked like me, and that was told that the things that I'd gone through before I had got there don't even matter no more.
Wow.
I get you. I get that. And the key is what you said, to just give you some credit on what you said. Me and Fi felt that when we went to Houston and went to Atlanta. And she talking about the people, right? How they treat you and all that. And more so, let's try to figure out a way to get along instead of looking at each other's eye. You know what I mean? And it was a culture shock for us. We enjoyed. We had a blast too.
Absolutely.
But so I get it. You know what I mean? And but yeah, just to give you your flowers in regards to. So I remember we was in this parking lot and you was running and you just had that zeal about, I'm gonna make a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know what I mean. So that came from inside. The changes you made already to say, okay, I could bring it outside. I kind of got that from you. You know, I just was like, okay, this is some shooting star. And then your team, the guys, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Because I love me some Demlins. That's my homeboy. You know what I mean? He embraced me, looked me dead in my eye, and I felt him. And Evans, that's my partner. You know, so with that kind of core going on, it's very inviting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do what we asked them this, so I'm gonna ask you. We'll make sure also, we'll give me the backdrop of that.
Of our dynamic?
Yes.
3 the hard way. The big 3. Like that's really they are the epitome of what Black men in leadership should look like. I've seen them behind the scenes where no one's looking, and that's where I typically judge character and measure your integrity. It's what you're doing when no one's watching, and what I've seen both of them do for people that some they know and some they don't. But what I've seen them, advocate for, step out, and support people in their community. I don't care if it's your cousin, your sister. I'm calling Brandon. I'm calling Demolis. They're going to be there. And so And that's not for any hand claps. And so that's why I mess with them so hard, because they don't do it for any. I mean, I always tell them every time I see them, I'm like, y'all could be working like literally anywhere.
Right.
Like, these brothers are credentialed. These brothers are degreed up. And so I'm like, they could be working anywhere doing anything, but it wasn't to do all of that. It was to come right back here to our home and to pour into our community. And that's something that we align with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So
I salute it.
that's great. And good brothers too. Great brothers. We,
Absolutely. Great brothers, great friends, great sons, you know what I mean? Great nephews, great community members.
Yes.
People that, you know, they don't lie. You know, I've been around a lot of liars since I've been in politics.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And so when you meet people that don't lie, you ain't even got to lie. You lie for free. Like, these people lie just to be lying. And so when you're around authentic, genuine brothers that really want to motivate and uplift the community because they have that exposure, they've been exposed, so now they know, and they're trying to wake people up to the game that's being played straight in our face.
So when a game is being played in your face, is it safe to say that those who are playing the game have a high hopes that if you do figure out that a game is being played in your face, to keep quiet about it?
Should we keep quiet about it?
I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
But they feel you should.
Yeah. They feel like you should be grateful to be in the position. So, you know, serving as a Richmond council member, I wasn't a favorite at the beginning, initially, when I was running.
But your people put you in there.
Absolutely.
Your people's your community.
Because my community don't play about me, and I don't play about them.
They wanted you.
Absolutely.
They wanted you.
Well, yes.
Well, we you know, we witnessed your campaign now.
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to want it. Enough for you to earn it, you got to want it.
Yeah.
And then once you want it, you have a vision, you get people to believe in the vision.
Yeah.
You've done that. So I'm not going to let you sit here on this podcast and downplay your effect.
Yeah,
so,
the election 2024, November 2024 is when I was elected. That entire time, I'm pretty sure I've told this story multiple times. I reached out to Jamelia Johnson, who's my cousin, who introduced me to Brandon, who became my campaign manager, and that relationship has been unshakable ever since, because the shared goals and the shared values to see our community win.
Absolutely.
Like, with the credentials that I have, like, working as a council member, our pay is public record. We are paid pennies, literally. And this is said to be a part-time job. It's not a part-time job if you're really doing the work. And so, you know, we've, across the board, Demolis, Brandon, and I have all taken pay cuts. I'm talking about, we got receipts, we got check stubs. We have taken so much, like, such of a hit financially to do this work, because this picture, it's bigger than the three of us.
So is it a perception that the big three is doing this or getting paid a lot of money? That's what I'm kind of hearing in there.
No, I think that the perception that the council overall, I think, like, people think that this is some sort of, like, elite profession. It's a very powerful position to be in.
It is.
But it's a very, it isn't paid.
Got it.
So to say that we're in this for some sort of, like, some sort of motive or whatever, is to say, like, are you sick? Because we could really be making six figures easily, like, all of us.
But I'm sure you hear that.
Yeah. All the time. That's what I tell people. Yeah. I'm like,
because you're in politics, you're gonna hear all type of stuff.
I'm like, cut it out.
You gotta bat it down.
Yeah, I'm like, cut it out.
Yeah.
Like, this is real work. And running in my election, I was the most underfunded candidate in that race. Everybody else was raised like 100,000, 150, 200,000. I raised 7,000, 5,000 of which was my own investment, my own money. I said it was 13, but Brandon was my campaign manager. He said, "Girl, bye."
Right.
That was $7,000.
7,000 got you in there.
And 5 was my own that I put out. Yeah.
So, damn, I don't, because I really don't want to insult anyone, right? But I do want to point out, if it was 7,000 for you to win,
And 5,000 was my own.
is it safe to say it was a lot of fluff going on?
A lot of fluff
Fluff
with
in regards of the campaign itself.
my campaign?
No.
Or campaigns in general.
You competed with somebody.
Yes,
You competed against somebody.
I ran against 2 people. I ran against an incumbent who was seated almost 10 years, and I ran against another person who were I ran against another person who was like a serial candidate. He always runs every election, no matter what. So, going against a political machine. So I was going against, of course, all this is public record. Right. Melvin Willis, who was seated almost 10 years. And I beat him. I told him specifically at one of the forums that we attended, I said, if he can outwork me, he deserves it. But I don't believe he's going to outwork me.
How did you outwork him?
Because there was not a day that I took for granted. Every day meant something. Every day was the day. There was no days off. There was no amount of, and also I understood the landscape. I understood the playing field. Like, I went back and I researched all of his elections.
Okay.
And what I realized about his elections was that people were not showing up to the polls. People were not voting. So people were winning on these small margins of individuals. So it really wasn't the city that was actually speaking. It was these small political groups. He belongs to a group called the RPA. Okay. The Richmond Progressive Alliance, who I call the death row records of Richmond politics.
Now, I've been hearing a lot about them. So what is it about the RPA that Richmond residents should know about, but they don't know?
So the RPA is deemed to be a progressive group.
Okay.
I think that progressive is very subjective, depending on who's talking about it. Because I believe that you can be so progressive that you can leave the community that you're trying to progress behind. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you're so busy trying to be so, policy forward and so on trend that you can leave folks that are not there behind because people are not educated around politics and things like that. And so, I mean, they're a group that holds weight in the city of Richmond. These are people who are sitting on our council today as the supermajority.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it safe to say that many of the members of the RPA are not Richmond residents?
I really don't know where they all live. They know where I live, though.
What I mean by Richmond residents is to come up like we come up, born here, have lineage here, know the terrain, know the landscape. Because if I'm trying to progress further ahead, and I'm not grabbing my people, that means it's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah, there's
why I'm not grabbing my people, and I'm here.
Yeah.
So if I'm here, I gotta go grab my people.
Yeah.
Or just a perception was subjective about some money. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. I mean, well, when I say that the Richmond Progressive Alliance is the death row records of Richmond politics, it's like a get down, lay down type of situation.
Exactly.
And they have people that are very strategic. And that's the thing. I don't believe that they're the smartest group. Mm-hmm. I believe that they have been one of the most strategic groups.
Right.
They have been able to infiltrate not only our city council, but many of our boards and commissions. So if you are having that type of power on the board, like this playing field, if you have that many people strategically placed in all of these different boards, commissions, council, you're able to run the city of Richmond. And that's what they've been able to do. While we were sleeping, though.
Exactly.
because we were sleeping because we were not at the polls. We were sleeping because there's not enough voter education around what's going on. And so I believe that's what set aside my race from Melvin's race, because I was able to look at the numbers and see that he did not win by these huge astronomical numbers. I realized that there were people that were not woke, people that were asleep at the wheel, that was going to continue to let cycle after cycle go without showing up to the polls. They had concerns, they had opinions, but they were not voicing them at the polls. So that's where the disconnect lied.
Absolutely.
And so I was able to activate people. I started initially out the gate. I already saw where the link, the missing link was, and that was voter education and voter registration. That's how we get the people to the polls. We have to tell them about it. We have to give them a reason. It's not a fact that people don't want to vote. It's that people don't have a reason to vote. People are tired of you with your inflated promises, over-delivering. I mean, you know, over-promising and under-delivering. People were tired of that. So they were looking for fresh people to say, hey, you know, I know this person. I know she come from like the same upbringing, and even people that didn't know me just were able to understand, you know, this person and realize that she's a human just like me. She's a mom, she's a teacher, she's a this, she's a that. And so people were able to identify with me in so many different ways. And I just took that and I really ran with it because I knew that people needed to get registered. And so I have folks registering people, registering young people at the schools, registering elders at the senior centers, all of the above.
Sound like you galvanized. That sounds like a galvanizing point. Also, too, you know, that's what I meant about the fluff. You defined that. I meant about fluff, not in disrespectful term, but just what people were tired of. You know
absolutely.
What I mean? It's like me holding a cloud in my hand. You know, I'm not being able to grab anything. So the tangible, what you're talking about, is what you gave the people, and that's what I was saying. I saw you had that fire that connecting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Because I told them once I got there, I wouldn't change, and many people knew that already. People knew that, like, I was real. They tried to say that I was, you know, a no name. My race today is still considered an upset race because that's how much doubt was placed in my race. That's how much doubt people, you know, didn't want to believe that that could actually happen. Melvin was a very strong candidate, and I didn't take that lightly. So that's why I couldn't have any days off. They, you know, right downstairs, there's an organization called ACE. They paid those folks $25 an hour to walk through the district to tell them that I was a Chevron candidate, just to turn people off, voters off about me. Because, you know, whenever you mention Chevron, everybody just act a fool.
But they take Chevron money.
They every listen.
They take the money.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a toxic couple.
They never turned it down.
It's like, I don't want you, but I want everything you can give me.
Absolutely.
Very toxic.
I know. Did you want to come back for a part two?
Sure.
Well, we did say, right?
Yeah.
Follow up with that, but I'm saying we did say we'd like to have all three of y'all on here together.
Absolutely.
As we do individually, we'd like to have all three. So, I mean, it's so much information that's tangible that we can learn from by talking to you guys. Because you are bringing fresh water into the situation.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's very interesting.
Exactly. You know? And before we go, I have to ask this question. What is the most, well, not the most, but one of the top three disrespectful things you heard about you as becoming city councilwoman, a black city councilwoman?
I think the first thing is the refusal. So I am a councilwoman, but also I earned the title Dr. Jamelia Brown. And so there's a lot of people that are reluctant to acknowledge me in that regard. However, that's completely okay. I always tell them I wasn't the first person to call myself doctor. Like, it was the University of Southern California after I defended my dissertation. So
absolutely.
That happened. Another thing that I feel like has been disrespectful was, you know, my vote is equal to every council person and mayor and vice mayor on that council. I have an equal vote. However, sometimes you're not treated that way, whether it's not we don't provide you the information, you get the information last minute, or, it's like a hazing process almost.
Why?
Like, like a college hazing process, being on the council when you're not a part of that majority.
Got it. Okay.
And I think like the last thing I would say, what real community power looks like, because folks think that they're so grassroots. And I'm like, no, I have like real community power, because I have the kind of community power that will activate dead spaces, and it's not about, popularity or anything, but it's about making the information accessible. So like once you wake people, or once you get to talking to folks and letting them know like what's at stake, so I think like that part, that misconception about, having real influence.
Got it.
Yeah.
You got a couple questions too.
No, I'm gonna flip the switch. I'm gonna go a whole different route. I know we ain't covered everything we couldn't. There's too much going on. But I can ask, what are the 3 most proudest things that you feel you accomplished, or however you want to put it in your own words? Since you got 3 things that you had to deal with adversity, what are the 3 proudest things that you've done that empowers you in your journey today?
One is, of course, obtaining my doctorate. That wasn't for me. That wasn't for me, because if it was for me, I would have quit a long time ago.
That's deep.
I probably would have quit like after the first year.
That's deep.
That was the most rigorous. Lord have mercy. It took God himself to keep me in that program, but it was folks like my little cousins. It was people like my friends, daughters, kids, whatever, like those folks. The thought of them being able to see Jamelia become Dr. Jamelia, just a girl from the Barrett apartment.
Man, that's deep.
To see me come up like that.
Absolutely.
To see me come up through the West Contra Costa Unified School District, to see me go and, bump my head a few times and then get back on track, let them know what, resetting looks like. So it was that, like, that's one of a huge accomplishment. My mom being conceiving at 13, having me at 14 years old, and never being in the foster system, or
strong courage,
or never had always seen her work ethic was unmatched. Wanting to emulate that and being able to do just that, and for her to sit there when I walked across every stage that I've walked across, when I stood there in front of her and my children being sworn in. That was a moment that made everything that I went through thus far worth it.
Absolutely.
And I think lastly would be the service. I coined myself a servant leader. My goal is to improve that every single day. My life purpose on this earth is to serve the people of my community.
That's it.
And I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that by the doors that God has opened for me. I'm sure of that by the people that I've been able to reach. I'm sure of that by the folks that come back and tell me about the impact that I've made in their lives. So,
absolutely. You're making a great impact. I want to just say thank you for coming to the show. But also, before we leave, I want to say thank you on behalf of 100 Years Enterprise, because for the first reentry proclamation of Richmond.
Absolutely.
So what was that? Why you chose us?
Damn, why you gonna let me say that?
I asked you any more questions, brother.
I forget. Okay, well,
You
go
forgot?
ahead. That's a great one. That's a great
Okay, go on and finish.
No. Go ahead. I just felt that when you said it.
Yeah, second chances. I mean, you guys are the epitome of what a second chance looks like.
Right.
The second chance that y'all offer your brothers and sisters when they leave the gates.
Yes.
And you bring them on platforms like this to talk about what went on behind those walls and, all those things. So when you think about second chances and you think about the community-based organizations that are doing the work in Richmond, why not?
Absolutely. Why not?
Why not? It's always 100 years.
Right.
So to be able to provide that platform for you guys to be acknowledged in such a way, I felt it was an obligation, just because, again, seeing the work when when the cameras are not rolling at City
Right.
Hall, and like you mentioned
Absolutely.
yesterday, feeding over 200 people.
Yes. Yes.
Was there cameras here to view that? Because I don't think people know about it.
Now, the media didn't know. We had our individual cameras, but the media, everybody outside, they didn't know.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the
Right.
type of stuff that we want to continue to highlight.
Absolutely.
Organizations that are on the ground, that are actually doing the work, that are actually making contact, direct contact with our community members. And so it was a privilege for me to be able to honor you all when it came to Second Chance Awareness Month. Just the work that you all continue to do. I'm excited about it. Excited about any way that I can continue to help and support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just amazing what you all are doing, not only with the adults, but with the young people going into
Yes.
juvenile hall. Like, those are areas where we can penetrate and we can change what the trajectory looks like when those young people return back to society. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. So it's like the work that you all are doing, the platforms that you all are giving us to sit here to talk about our journeys, to talk about how we overcame life's obstacles, to see the bigger picture. You know, everybody's not going to make it, and we got to be okay with that.
We have to.
But for those who do make it, we cannot have survival remorse. Like,
Ooh.
I
Ooh.
come from a
we
fine
we
place.
cannot
We can't.
you know what I mean?
Like,
You know what I mean? Like, because I know we left people
Yeah.
there.
we did.
Wow.
But, you know,
Yes.
It
we
happens.
got to push on. And, you know, we left them there, but they don't have to stay there. They could do, because it takes work to get out. You know what kind of work
It
takes
does.
to
It
get
takes work.
that-
We got to stay working.
to get that, we know what it looks like to get that denial.
Yes.
That
Absolutely.
parole hearing
I
denial.
had 3 of them. Woo.
Listen.
But yeah, so be ready for part 2.
Yeah,
Jamelia, thank you for coming to the show.
absolutely.
We appreciate you. My name is Fahim, Consequences of the Street Life.
And Patrick, yeah, and I second that. You left me with hella questions, but we don't have enough time in the day. We had to, jump back into it another time. And we would like to welcome Dimmless and Evans. I'll keep my word with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see what that looks like, man. But again, I'm most proud of you. You always been upstanding community activist, and you take it seriously, and you show a lot of love, and that's something to be honored. So I salute you for that, and I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you giving us the award, recognizing the work that we do, and we're going to continue to try to, be a reflection of the people and what we do, too, because that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for coming on. 100 years of the pride.
Thank
Again.
y'all.
And we got a man Cam behind the camera. Hey, go to our YouTube channel, 100 Years .biz. Instagram, 100 Years DOP. Our Facebook, 100 Years Enterprise. Well, as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Peace, love, and happiness. We wrapping up season 7, episode 4. And we out.